This was the most ridiculous flight I had ever seen. If you were late by even 1 second, you couldn't get on the plane. One passenger tripped while boarding and arrived 1 second late. The flight attendant smiled and closed the cabin door right in front of him. During the security check, the officer saw a luxury handbag and threw it into a blender, because you couldn't be richer than him. If you had a very cheap handbag, the officer found it dirty and tossed it aside carelessly. Inside the cabin, the flight attendants didn't ask passengers to turn off their phones. They didn't care if the plane was safe. They only cared if the passengers were happy. The only reliable person on board was the pilot. He managed to take off the plane successfully. To celebrate his first successful takeoff in 20 years, he drank a glass of wine, but he accidentally spilled it on the control panel. As a result, both he and the co-pilot were electrocuted and died on the spot. 5 hours passed with no movement. The head attendant came in to check and found the pilots already dead. He went to find the onboard police officer and asked him to check the cockpit, but there was a dangerous death row inmate sitting right next to the officer. After the flight attendant begged him, the officer finally agreed to go. A man nearby sensed something was wrong and followed. When he found out the pilot was dead, he became terrified. The officer told him to stay calm and said he used to be an ace pilot in the Air Force. But in the next second, the inmate broke free and snapped the officer's neck. The shock was too much, and the man fainted on the spot. When he woke up, he was tied up with the 2 dead pilots. The clever man knew he had to save the pilot in order to survive. But no matter what he tried, he couldn't bring a dead person back to life. So he began to study how to fly the plane. He had seen in movies that planes had an emergency lever, so he pulled a lever by accident. Just then, the control tower sent a signal. The man felt hopeful again. The tower told them to pull the autopilot lever to be saved. He looked at the lever in his hand. It really did say autopilot. Meanwhile, the death row inmate kidnapped a flight attendant and asked her where the parachutes were, but she refused to tell him. Then he did something cruel. He fed dog food to a cat. The flight attendant couldn't take it anymore and finally told him the location of the parachutes. The inmate opened the cabin door and tried to jump out with the parachute. Chaos broke out. Panicked passengers started taking selfies. The inmate smiled and opened his parachute, but the next second, he got sucked into the engine. The engine broke down, and they didn't have much time left. The man quickly took out his phone to search for a tutorial, but he didn't have a subscription, so he had to watch 5 minutes of ads first. After the ads, a boy started teaching him how to fly. Following the boy's steps, they managed to lower the landing gear. The next step was landing, but the boy said the final step was to turn on autopilot. The man lost all hope. He had gone in a full circle and ended up at the same place. But just then, the real pilot woke up. The real pilot was actually a monkey. With the monkey's guidance, the man and the others finally landed the plane. They became heroes. If it were you, would you take this flight?